Hey there folks, Graham here, and today I'm looking at recording sequences on the Arturia Keystep 37. In particular, step recording versus real-time recording, but I'll also be looking at monophonic and polyphonic sequencing and how to edit and manipulate the sequences once you've recorded them using the various mode functions in the Keystep. If you've got any questions, please post them in the comments and I will get back to you to see if I can help. And if you do enjoy this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really is appreciated. First, let's start with step recording. This is effectively where you program notes in one at a time, and you can program up to 64 steps per sequence, with the Keystep being able to store up to 8 sequences. To record a step sequence, press record so the button lights up. Now, when you hit a note, the counter will say 1 for the first step in the sequence. And if you hit a second note, the counter will say 2, and so on up to 64. However many notes you program, that's the length of the sequence. So here's me programming a standard 16 note sequence. And now I can play back that sequence. Just for info, I've got my drum machine hooked up to my Keystep 37, so when I press start on the Keystep 37, it also starts my drum machine, which will come in handy in a little bit. Polyphonic sequencing is also possible, with each chord equaling 1 step, so I can record a sequence of chords like this. And again, play it back. The only issue here is that everything is played as a simple sequence, with each note coming straight after the other, creating no expression or rhythm. To make a sequence more interesting, you can add rests between notes, or you can tie notes together. First, let's look at rests. If you press the tap button after you've played a note, it will add a blank note to the sequence. So here, I'll press the first note of the sequence, and the counter displays 1. If I then press the tap button, you'll see that the counter advances to 2. And if I press the tap button again, it advances to 3, effectively inserting blank notes into the sequence. If I now press another note, that will be step 4. And if I press tap again, I insert a blank note at 5. And if I play that back, you get something like this. As well as adding rests, this same button can be used to either create a legato style sequence where the notes transition smoothly from one to the other, or to tie same notes together. Holding the tap button while playing different notes will tie them together in a legato style, like this. And if you then hold the tap button while playing a single note repeatedly, it will tie them together into one continuous note, like this. All of this therefore allows for some pretty expressive sequences. Here, for example, is a 64 note sequence with a variety of single notes, chords, rests and tied notes. So all of this is great, but it does mean working out where you want your rests to be, which notes you want to tie together, and then performing multiple button presses whilst programming the sequence. This is where real-time recording comes in. It allows you to play and record the notes naturally, with all the rests and ties, etc. recorded into the sequence as you play. First off, you need to program the length of your sequence. To do this, hold the record button and any one of the numbered keys from 1 to 16, like this. Each time you press a key, it will add the steps together. So I pressed key numbered 16 and I have 16 steps. If I press it again, I'll get 32 steps, 48 steps, and then 64 steps, which is the maximum. But you can program any combination. For example, if I hold the record button and press 12 and 13, I get 25 steps. Once you've determined the length of the sequence, you can then start recording. Press record again, so the record button lights up, and then press play to start the sequencer. This will start my drum machine, and I generally use a drum machine when I'm doing this, as it gives me something to play in time to. Now as the sequencer is running, I can just play naturally and all the expression will be recorded. It's important in real-time recording to set the sequence length first before you start recording the sequence. If you don't, the Keystep will assume that it's a one-step sequence, and when you come to play back your sequence, it will just repeatedly play the last note that you played. Now that we know how to record either by step or in real time, the next thing to cover is editing and clearing sequence. There are two functions accessed by the Shift button, which are append and clear last. The append button allows you to add steps to a sequence, and the clear last allows you to erase steps one by one, working backwards from the end of the sequence. So here again is my 16-note sequence. Now, if I wanted to add to that sequence, I can press Shift and the append, which is actually the record button, and you'll see it comes up with 16, which is the steps I already have in the sequence. If I now press another note, rather than starting again from 1, it moves to 17, and it just starts adding notes to the existing sequence. And then, if when I'm programming the step sequence I hit a wrong note, rather than start all over again, I can just erase the note or notes by pressing Shift and clear last. So you'll see here I've got 20 steps in the sequence, but if I press Shift and clear last, it reduces to 19. Press it again, 18, etc. And it's erasing those steps from the sequence. If I just want to completely start again from scratch with a step sequence, when I hit the record button, the previous sequence is wiped and I can program a new one. So you'll see now I've pressed the record button, and if I press a key, I go straight back to step 1. Real-time sequence recording is slightly different in that the sequence is not wiped next time you hit record. So you'll need to erase it manually before recording a new sequence. Rather though than having to hold Shift and keep pressing clear last to erase each note one by one, there is a shortcut to erase an entire sequence. Hold the record button and press the first white key numbered 1. This reduces the sequence to one step, as was just seen on the display. Then press Shift and clear last, and that will remove the last step from the sequence. Now hopefully you know how to program sequences, either through real time or step recording, how to add rests, and how to tie notes together, and also how to edit and clear sequences. So to finish, I'll cover some of the more advanced features that can be used with sequences on the Keystep. First is the division knob. This allows you to control the rate at which the notes are played back in the sequencer, either quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th notes, etc., like this. Then there's the gate function. By pressing Shift and one of the percentage keys under the gate function, you can alter the release time of the notes in a sequence, like this. Next is the swing section. Similar to gate, by pressing Shift and one of the percentage keys under the swing section, you can alter the rhythm of the sequence, like this. And then there is the sequence section with its mono and overdub options. By pressing Shift and mono, and you'll see the blue light come on above mono, it turns the Keystep 37 into a monophonic keyboard. Probably useful if you're triggering a monophonic synth, but what it also does is allows you to take a polyphonic sequence programmed on the Keystep and convert it to a monophonic sequence, or move back and forwards between the two. And finally, here in the sequence section is the overdub option. If I press Shift and this key here, you'll see the blue light come on above where it says overdub. You probably can't read the overdub on the screen, it's a bit small, but hopefully you can see the blue light going on and off. Now this option only works when recording sequences in real time, not when step recording. What this allows you to do is record over the top of existing sequences whilst keeping the original sequences, effectively building up layer upon layer, which allows to build some pretty complex sequences. What you do is just allow the sequence to keep looping round while in record mode and just keep adding notes and chords, like this. And that's it. That's how to program sequences on the Arturia Keystep 37, either through step recording or real-time recording, how to enter rests, how to add ties, how to edit and manipulate sequences once you've recorded them. I hope you found this useful, and if you have, don't forget to like, subscribe and ring that bell. And if you've got any questions at all, please leave them in the comments and I will get back to everyone to see if I can help. Of course, all other comments or feedback is also highly appreciated. But for now, I've been Graham, take care and catch you later.